Good day and welcome to another tantalizing episode of Two Mics with Two Mics. I'm Pastor Mike and I have a microphone.
And I'm tantalized. Pastor Michael and I have a microphone.
And today we are going to take a chapter out of my forthcoming book, which I can't give the title because I don't want anybody to steal it. But this is from chapter 9 and it's called I Can't Make This Stuff Up.
Now, real quick, we're talking about church what?
Church weird stories.
And, I'm pretty sure if anybody's been pastoring longer than a week, everyone's got these. But we got some good ones we want to share with you. And we're going to start with the future book of Pastor Mike Wooten,
Yes.
which I've read some excerpts,
Yes.
and there's some pretty good stuff in there.
Yes.
So go ahead. Let's hear it.
Very good stuff.
I want to hear this.
So chapter 9, I can't make this stuff up.
never
This
gets
deals
old.
with church weird stories, or some people have, weird God stories.
Those are better. Those are like you feel holier when you listen to them.
A weird God story. Here's one weird God story, not from our church, from someone else. I was at Scooters in line for coffee.
Oh, this
I
kind.
turned and talked to somebody. They spoke to me. I ordered. I turned around. They were gone.
Okay, I thought you were talking about like weird God stories where it's like cool stuff, like like a Philip moment where they're transported or something like that, or
No,
blinding eyes.
That would be an actual Bible story.
Well, I thought you were talking about people having those experiences, but go on.
But there are. Did you know that there are bizarre stories in the Bible?
I just read one,
Which one was that?
the gross one, where somebody raped their half sister in 2 Samuel, whose name was Ammon, and then Tamar was his half sister. That's kind of weird, just a little off-putting.
That is weird. Which ironically leads me into what I call a church horror story.
The hora is a dance in Jewish culture, by the way.
I didn't know that.
Congratulations.
I had to enunciate it though. So church horror stories,
Horror.
not church horror stories.
Horror.
Although a lot of those happen too.
Horror. Go ahead.
Stories that are so bizarre that some of you people may think we're making these up, but we are not making them up. So, being that you said that there was a man that raped his half sister.
Yeah, halvesies.
So we had in our church when we were in the domes, and I had an associate pastor that was he was born and raised in South Africa, a white guy, and so he had
Bald,
a British
too.
bald, had a British accent. Not only from South Africa, but also he lived like 11 years in England. Good guy. And so I'm closing up shop. I'm closing up the church. He's upstairs in the loft area, and he is counseling these two people young people, probably in their late 20s, who I assumed were married. Someone invited them to church. They'd been coming a little bit. Unfortunately, they'd got involved in methamphetamines.
I've been watching a lot of Cops lately, and that's pretty common.
And so they had one set of twins and two other children. Those children, sad to say, were taken away from them.
And this was by each other, or one of them had children?
No, this is by each other.
Okay.
So a set of twins and then two other children. But like I said, because of their trial and everything on the methamphetamines, the children had been taken away and put in the child.
Which is always horrible.
Right, protective custody.
Most of the time, anyway.
And so my associate pastor was upstairs in the loft area counseling them. I don't know what for. I figure it's marital issue or the court issue.
Couldn't figure out who gets more of the meth. Go ahead.
And so I'm downstairs and I'm locking up, and he comes downstairs. And in his beautiful South African / English accent, he says, "Pastor Mike, I need you to come upstairs." And in my loving demeanor, I said, "What? You can't handle you can't handle a counseling session?"
Yes, your ever-loving demeanor.
My ever-loving demeanor.
That sounds
he
wrong.
goes-
Your ever-loving.
He goes, well, I think I need you upstairs. So I'm guessing in my mind, okay, they have the same last name. What's the worst could happen? They were married, they got divorced, and now they're made up, and so they're just shacked up together, but not remarried. So I said, what? I said, are they like what, they living together and not remarried? He goes, nah, it's worse. I said, what could be worse? He goes, they're brother and sister. And I used the David Hogan phrase. I said, I threw my hamburger on the floor.
So, did they reference Genesis at all to justify that?
No, but I referenced Leviticus, which says, you shall not uncover the nakedness of your sister, nor the nakedness of your brother, and other people's nakedness, which means more than, hey, you don't just peek. It means you don't have sexual relations with your sister and with your brother.
Abraham did it.
Half sister.
Halvesies.
So, and that was way back.
That's when the gene pool was a little cleaner.
Yeah, cleaner from sin. And I believe that. So anyway, so I go up there and I'm showing them what the Bible says, and they're like, but we love each other. I said, I don't care. This is what the Bible, you guys need to separate. This is not right. And ironically, they'd been on trial in Colorado for that very thing, and the judge dismissed it because he said there's no proof. And I'm thinking, what about the kid right there? But
I don't think, but we love each other. I love my dog, but, goes only as far as treats and petting. Doesn't go farther than that.
right.
Gross.
And so, anyway, we're talking with them and found out. Here's what happened. They knew they were half brother, half sister, and they knew it. They had the same dad, but different moms. But they both knew that. And what had happened when he was 18, and she's 24. When he was 18, the girl that he was dating, or I can't remember if they were engaged or not. Anyway, she broke up with him, and it was devastating for him. And so he went to his half sister to get comfort, and evidently she comforted him a little too much. And
So he got not only an older chick, but halvesies. Gross.
So they had a set of twins, and they had 2 more children. And so one of their arguments was, our kids are fine. Because talk about the gene pool, and there's a reason.
There's a reason why it's illegal, because when you have too many close chromosomes and things of that nature, your kids can come looking out like they're like the hills have eyes. Like they just are mutated, like sewer people walking around like, hey. That's why God said don't do it after a certain point, because he knew that there'd be birth defects and things of that nature because of sin. Right. Which is why you have birth defects because of sin, like alcohol fetal syndrome and things of that nature.
Right.
Sin begets sin.
And so now, I think it's legal still to marry your third cousin.
Alabama?
To marry your third,
Arkansas?
Jerry Lee Lewis married
Bill Clinton? Sorry.
his third cousin. Anyway, we're getting off track here. But so one of their
Right
justifications.
In the sweet spot. Wait, right in the sweet spot. That third cousin? Just far enough where there's no birth defects.
Right now.
Close enough to keep it in the family.
But another decade or so, they may say.
Royal family rules.
Because it was, there's still a law in some states. You can marry your first cousin, but you have to get fixed in order to do it.
Woof. Go ahead.
Well, we had a couple here that were first cousins that were married. And,
we did.
And he had to get fixed. They weren't married in Nebraska. They were married out of state. Don't say the state.
Yeah, I'm not gonna,
and so we're like trying to help them out. So we did. The next day, sad to say, we called states like Arkansas.
We helped them right out of
Tennessee.
the door.
No, and asked them, what is your marital laws, and none of them were for half brother, half sister. Because the old joke, right? And if you're from Arkansas watching, well,
we love you, but
just exercise forgiveness.
Third cousins only.
The old joke
There's
is,
a bumper sticker for all of Arkansas.
If a couple get married in Arkansas, you can insert whatever state you want to make fun of. If a couple get married in Arkansas, we'll pick on that one because it's Bill and Hillary's place, and later move to California and then divorce, are they still legally brother and sister?
Man, this is like calculus for incest here. How can we get away with this?
It's wrong. It's wrong.
Yes.
So, but we couldn't help them, and obviously they quit coming, and ended up they got convicted on the methamphetamine.
But not on
charges.
the incest.
No, not on the incest.
Woof.
And I don't know, and that was in the early 2000s. I don't know where they are today. I pray, and I do pray, and I mean this. I pray they're doing well, and that their children are okay.
No, and that's how these stories
That's
go.
very irresponsible, though, to know that's your half sister, and yet you're going to have.
Well, I mean, to be fair, that's kind of most sin. It's kind of irresponsible. I'm going to go to the bars and waste all my money, yet I have a wife and children at home, or yet I have responsibilities, and they just ignore it.
Sin is selfish.
Yeah. And yeah, just to be clear, we have these stories, but the reality is we do want these people to progress and grow in Christ.
Yeah.
But the stories still remain, and we keep them anonymous because they're just too good not to share.
Yeah. They're bizarre. Here's some stories. This is what I wrote. Let me tell you what I wrote.
Tell me on. Then I got a couple.
Okay. I know every church has some weird church stories. I know that. But here's some. If there was a biblical tabloid, right, like the Inquirer, something like that.
The Rock.
Here's some headlines
Cornerstone.
that would read this way: Woman drives tent peg through head of a man.
I mean, I like that one.
That's in the Bible.
Yes, it is.
Another one: dogs eat woman near the wall of Jezreel. Huh? True or not true?
Very true.
Very
I always
true.
wonder what kind of dogs, though.
Yeah, I don't know.
What kind of dogs would it be?
It would be terrible if it was Chihuahuas.
Oh my gosh, that'd be
It would take a
hilarious.
long time.
That would be hilarious. 3 days later, they're still going at her. Go ahead.
Man raised from the dead after 4 days. Huh? That'd be a headline.
Levite chops up concubine into 12 pieces.
You know, I got that one. Thank you
Ships
for.
them out using UPS.
Well, I didn't put UPS.
You're right. It would have been the Postal Service. They would
Earth
accept
opens
that.
up and swallows 254 people. Unnamed archer slays a king.
Those are pretty good.
Yeah.
Those are pretty
Yep,
good.
yep. And the one you just said, man cuts woman up into 12 pieces.
He uses the Postal Service. Only one that accepts body parts in the mail. FedEx rejects.
A man's dreams cause his own brothers to turn on him. Okay, here's one. This one, the last one. I mean, there's more.
I got one after that just
Okay.
for fun. Go ahead.
Obese priest breaks neck in fall. I can't read my own writing. Oh, and dies.
Oh, and he's dead now.
Yeah.
Here you go. Fat king has a
Obese.
knife.
Obese priest.
Obese priest. Well, I'm thinking of judges. Like, man loses knife in obese king.
Glad you self-corrected there.
Well, I'll share.
Which one do you have?
I'll share this. Okay, so I have two. One is regarding ministry in general,
Okay.
as an associate pastor, and then the other one is regarding being a youth pastor, okay, and doing ministry outside of the walls. And for those of you who don't know, this is the head pastor, Pastor Mike, and I am an associate / youth pastor. I have two titles because
I only have one title.
yeah, I know he got lucky. The head. I don't know what I am. Collarbones, neck veins, whatever. Anyway,
but
point is,
you're-
we are both pastors.
But you're a natural Jew, and I'm not.
Au naturel, baby.
I know it.
I got the hair that weighs shekels and everything,
I'm
except
a
I'm
little
not
jealous.
getting caught
I'm a
in
little
a tree
jealous of
there.
that.
But anyway, so we are both pastors at a local church in Lincoln, Nebraska, Elevate Church. Come visit us sometime, 8251 Pioneers Boulevard. Check us out at elevatelijncoln.com. That way you can know our service times and all the fun stuff that we do here and all the God stuff that we do here. But let me share the story because I got one as an associate and one as a youth pastor.
Okay.
So the associate one, we had a visitor. Now, I'm a New Yorker in Nebraska, and it's very rare where I meet somebody from another state on the East Coast. I mean, West Coasters are starting to come out to Lincoln. So anyway, this person is from my side of the country, and they were pretty evidently from my side of the country. I'll put it that way. And there was one time, it was before Wednesday night service, where this person was going around and laying hands. You know, everyone thinks you got to lay hands on everything.
This is an adult or a youth?
This is an adult. This is the associate pastor story.
Male
this is
or
an adult.
female?
This is a female. Okay, we're gonna go with that. I was saying this person is a female. So this is a female, and this is before Wednesday night service. And for some reason, and everyone has this, you know, if the light of God is going to attract all kinds of people, including the nut jobs, this would fall underneath that category. This woman was coming to church for a while, and she was a little bit of a wackadoo. I'll put it that way. Wackadoos exist before they're Christian, then they become Christian
wackadoo?
Wackadoo.
Is that like from that one song, Do Wackadoo, Wackadoo, Wackadoo?
You know, it could be, but I don't know that. I
Okay.
just know that's an old saying. Anyway, apparently it might be older than you. I don't know. It might be an East Coast thing. Anyway, so she starts laying hands, going around to every outlet
Wait, you
in
mean
the sanctuary.
electrical
An
outlet?
electrical outlet.
She's laying hands on electrical outlets.
laying hands on electrical outlets, and ones that don't
get a
even
charge?
have. You know, you would think, but they didn't even have anything plugged in them. Most of them just like somehow the electrical outlets. That's where Satan's come. That's where he comes. He fits perfectly in those housing outlets and those you know.
I did
That's where
not
that's where it
know
goes. Yeah,
that.
so hands needed to be laid. So she's going around laying hands on all these outlets. And you know, there's nothing that really gets a blood boiling of a worship leader more so than if people just come onto the stage and come right next to
Infiltrate the holy area.
well, it's not even that. It's like, hey, this is expensive electrical equipment. What are you doing just coming right up here?
She didn't play an instrument.
She did not.
She wasn't on the worship team.
She was not. So she's going around laying hands on all the outlets. And then the worship leader sees a little mound inside the drum cage. Now, our drum cage is not like a transparent, like all the way around. It has like 3 windows. It's in a closet.
a room.
Yeah, it's a little room. It's a little closet. And so to get in there, you have to traverse, you have to kind of creep around something. You have to traverse a whole bunch of wires. And he
Contort
sees,
yourself.
yeah, he sees a little mound. So now all of a sudden she's made her way onto the stage and she's laying hands on the bass drum. Like somehow the bass drum itself,
Was it sick?
it needed to be healed. Satan goes into the bass drum and stops the tempo. So she was laying hands
Well,
on the
you
bass
do know.
drum.
You do know
Apparently,
that there are
that's the first thing.
certain beats of the drum that come from African tribes that they use to conjure up demons. You do know that, right?
So our worship leader,
Obviously, he doesn't. He doesn't care.
our worship leader, who has a fuse pretty short, not a worship pastor, worship leader, his fuse is short. And in this instance, I don't blame him one bit. But he comes out and he goes, just straight faced, you're going to have to get out of here. Like, and I'm talking like, you would think that she was literally casting out a demon because it was travailing in prayer, laying hands on outlets and on the drum. It was the weirdest instance ever. Well, needless to say, that person did not stay at our church because
Why not?
I know it's this weird thing where we have a balance of the spiritual gifts and order. It's like something in Corinthians. It's like something in the Word of God
Like
talking
do
about
all things
balancing that.
decently in order, like a verse like that or something.
That's just ludicrous. That's what I heard.
I tell you.
So that's one instance I have. The second one is a little more risque. A little more risque.
Can you share this over?
Oh, I could share this. This is one of those weird instances. Now, I'm not going to tell the whole story, but it's kind of funny, and I might send this to a specific Instagram group because it's pretty good. So years ago when I first started out, now I've been a youth pastor for going on 9 years, 10 years, something like that.
You've been a great youth pastor.
Well,
The best I have ever
best.
witnessed.
the best, guys, the best.
I've only
to quote
witnessed
Seinfeld.
3, but the best I've ever witnessed.
Well, I have been blessed with a 4-car garage. I have a starter home, but my garage is 4 cars, and the reason we got it is so I can practice drums. Well, over the years, the Lord has blessed me. He's blessed me. He's blessed me, guys. He's blessed me with a gym, weights and everything, and God has provided GYM, not a JIM, with a gym. And so I have this gym in my house. I have this gym in my garage, and a while ago, it became where I would have young men, youth come over, anywhere from youth group to 30 years, and they come on certain days, 4 days a week, and we would work out. We'd talk about the Word of God. We just have some fun.
And you still
whatever.
do that?
And I still do that, yes. Yeah. So this was when it was first, like the gym was first like established, and I've had enough stuff where it's like, oh, it makes sense to have people come, and so I had young men in my house, and they were youth, 16, 17, 15, whatever, and we're working out, and one of them goes, I need to use the restroom. And I had no problem with them using the restroom, but you got to go inside because it's
Gotta
a
go in
detached
your house.
Yeah, it's a
'Cause it's
detached
a
garage.
detached garage,
It's a
okay.
detached garage, so he has to go inside. And I said, yeah, go ahead. And this was a youth that I had known for a little bit. It wasn't like, first timers. I'm not going to let you go into
trusted
my
him.
house. I trusted him enough.
Yeah.
And so he goes, I got to go to the bathroom. So I said, go ahead. So we're working out, me and the other two guys. And I'm thinking to myself, it's been a long time. I mean, even if the guy had to go to the bathroom and relieve himself, this is a long poop. And so I went, all right, I'm going to go inside and check on him. So I go inside. I have one bathroom. And the bathroom is adjacent to 3 different bedrooms. And I close my bedroom doors every time kids come over because
Right.
they don't need to see what's in my bedrooms.
Right.
And so I go into the hallway where the bathroom is, and I see the doors open. I'm like, where the heck is this kid? And my wife and my daughter are not home.
Okay.
And I go to my bedroom, and I see him with my wife's underwear drawer open,
No.
holding
No.
one of her garments.
How come I don't know this till now?
Because I remembered it literally about 2 months ago. And so he's holding one of these garments, and I put the fear of God in him. I said, what are you doing?
Oh, God.
And it literally jumped. And I'm like, he's like, I was just looking for the bathroom. I said, what you're holding is not the bathroom. Put that down. Puts it down.
Put that cookie down now.
Well, hold on. It gets better. This isn't done. So he puts it down. I can say right now that I never let him come over again
Good for
to
you.
work out because I said, I love you the same. I forgive you, but I don't trust you.
Can't trust you.
You lost that privilege. Now,
Say that a second, because forgiveness is given,
yes,
right?
yes,
But trust
is
is
earned.
earned.
And so I said, I can't trust you. I said, I love you. And I'll just be honest. We had a relationship past that, well into his adult years. But here's the capper. So I make sure for what I feel that youth respond to are leaders who are in the next stage of life, because then these youth can see, and that kind of comes, there's gives and takes there. Like sometimes the younger generation, like, the 19, 20, 21-year-olds, they're not exactly rooted in their faith. So sometimes that backfires, but more often than not, it's a good standard for the youth to see the next generation. And so, I have different youth leaders over the years. I handpick them. I make sure, hey, you're good in your faith, things like that. And so I have this youth leader now. And he's been a youth leader, him and his wife, for about a year and some change, maybe a little bit less. No, a little bit more at this point.
Okay.
And I
They're
remembered the
they're
story
married?
recently. Yeah, they're married. They're married
Okay,
to have a
good.
kid. And I love
so
them
he can open his wife's drawers.
in more ways than one. Being married, you can do that. Apparently, I'm
Both
cracking up our
drawers,
guy. Yes.
right?
All the drawers are open when you're married. You hear that? We got a couple people. One just got engaged, and one's married. So the one's married is laughing hysterically. The one's who's engaged is blushing. Anyway,
Yes.
So I have these two youth leaders, and I told this story anonymously in the gym recently. I had the youth leader, and I had a couple. Actually, it was two youth leaders and a youth, and we were working out recently. And I told the story, and I left it anonymous the same way that I did now. And he comes back to me the following Sunday, and he goes, "Was it this person?"
Speak up.
He goes, "Was it this person?" And he named a name. And I said, "Yeah. How did you know that?" And he goes, "Because that same person did the same thing to my wife when my wife was a teenager. He did the same thing. He was in the house
And
because
went
we
into
were
her
friends with the
dresser
family and went into
drawers.
her dresser drawers and also found a garment. The same exact person.
Now, he didn't try him on, though, did he?
From what I know, no.
Okay. Because
But that's not to say that it didn't happen other times.
Let me interject, because you just reminded me of another weird
All right, last
story.
one. Then we got to end it. Then we got to end it. Go ahead.
No, we'll get back to yours. And
Oh,
this
no,
wasn't
that's it. That's it.
This wasn't
That's
at
it.
our church. This was at another church. And this guy was married, had a daughter, and for whatever reason, I'm telling you, you got to, the devil is after you. Men, the devil is after you.
In frilly underwear.
Yeah, because what would happen, this is the progression.
Lacy
Dude's
things.
married, as far as I know, happily married, serving in the church in an administrative capacity, and has a daughter, beautiful daughter, and come to find out that this guy ends up. This is how demonic. It sounds stupid to say. It's how demonic the devil is.
Boo.
He later on felt that he was a woman and began hormone therapy and changed his name. I won't say what it was. And I don't know if he's still in that going purposefully, willfully in that direction. But you know where it started with him? Well, always starts in the mind, right? The devil always attacks the mind. But when his wife was gone, he would go into her dresser drawer and try on her undergarments. And
I feel like that'd be very uncomfortable.
so my wife asked me once, she goes, "You never done that?" I said to my wife, I said, "Honey, if I ever tried on your underwear, you would know because they'd be stretched out this big." I said, "No, I have not. I will not. I have no inclination to."
I gotta, okay, I gotta stop because we gotta
Yeah,
stop.
we better stop.
Because I could go way further with this. But yeah, my story was over. It's just, it's so funny because we're talking a span of 8 different years to where this person, it happened
Still
with
doing
this.
that.
And this was, actually, this was more than 8 years ago. Yeah, it happened around the same time, but now that youth leader is with me. So yeah,
I mean,
anyway.
I can. What are you doing? What are you doing, guys? You like, folding the clothes,
Just get married.
and you no, if you are married. This guy was married. So what are you doing? You're like folding, the clothes, and you're folding your wife's underwear, and you go put them in the drawer, and all of a sudden you hear this voice, "Hey, try them on.
They're silky smooth.
Yeah, they're silky.
There's so many options.
Try the ones with lace.
Leopard print.
See what you look like in them."
You could be a
Tell you
leopard.
what I'd look like in them. Like I always tell people, I don't wear skinny jeans because I'd look like a hippo in pantyhose.
If I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna get me a nice Speedo and go to Florida.
Gosh,
That's at that
that's
point, just
wrong.
go that way.
That is just.
At least
I don't care
it's
what
not
age
panties.
you are.
Come on. Anyway,
We
with
hope
that being said,
we hope you enjoyed today's episode.
there are definitely way more ministry, weird ministry stories, weird church stories.
And if you're a pastor, you have them.
Oh yeah, we've heard a lot from other pastors, other
Mm-hmm.
evangelists, and they always get more funny and more funny. But anyway,
But at the same time, they're sad.
they are sad because I can tell you right now, the 2 people that I talked about, I'm pretty sure one of them has moved on from that perversion. Thank the Lord. I believe he's married now. I don't know if he's serving the Lord. I really don't at this point. But the other one has moved on and is still out of her gourd. Still the same. So there's been no progression with that. And it is sad.
The
The
on hands on the outlets and
the
instruments.
electricity anointing.
And wasn't she like we have a little like speakeasy steps. All you ex-bar people know what that is. That go up to our sound booth. And I think at one point, if I remember right, she had like planted herself there.
Her
and someone
spot
had
to travail in prayer loudly was right in front of the sound booth. So everybody had to like make believe like they were in a prison, like get along the wall to get into the sound booth. It was the worst thing. And one time, I think it was actually the worship leader that said, "You can't pray here. Move over." I'm pretty sure. And
Sounds like him.
yeah, I could do a good impression
Yeah,
of him.
you can.
So, so that being said,
take us home,
Yes,
brother.
yes. Thank you for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. Please visit us at Elevate Church in Lincoln, Nebraska. See what God's doing here. And yeah, if you have any questions about either our church or about some of the things that we've talked about, this podcast, please email asktwomikes@gmail.com.
Ask 2 mics.
Ask
So that's it.
2 mics.
Don't stir anything up.
I'm Jewish. I could do it. Okay. We love you. Bless you. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
God bless you, and we love you.